Awesome. So we're going to jump in. I've known Mike, boy, it's probably been 2005-ish or 6-ish. We were in Bill Glazer's mastermind group together, so somewhere around there. I was maybe a year or two out of college. And at the time, Mike was, I think you were just doing your coaching and consulting gig, right? Getting individual clients. That morphed into the now famous Copy Doodles. So for those of you who know Copy Doodles, Mike is the creator of that. He has since moved on. You still do Copy Doodles, I assume, right? That's still alive and kicking. I can't imagine.
It is. Yep. And you guys were one of the first customers, you guys.
Yeah, yeah. We did the independent business advisor thing together with Dan and Bill. Boy, that must have been 2007-ish when we started that. So Mike and Keith and I have known Mike now. I guess we're going on close to 15 years. And now with this newest venture with his Main Street Author Program, we thought it'd be great to bring him on, have him give you some great information on how to become an author, why it's important to be an author, why you don't need to have a 300-page manual in order to be an author and have it make money for you. And then, of course, we have Keith, and those of you who know him, creator of the Keith Lee Business Systems, co-founder with 3D Mail with me, and so now he spends most of his time doing the Keith Lee Business Systems stuff, where he is training business owners and their staff to be more efficient. And then, of course, I founded 3D Mail with Keith, and that's where I spend almost all my time. But we thought it would just be a good idea that since everyone's kind of sitting around, there's not nearly as much going on. It's certainly a slow time, and to just kind of get on a call and talk about some of the things that we've seen work with publishing and with books and how we've used them. And if you get something out of it, great. Hopefully you can use it. But with that, like I said, this is going to be, more or less 2 or 3 guys rapping about marketing and books and that kind of stuff. So it's going to be very informal. And so other than that, Mike, Keith, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Glad you're here.
Great to be here.
So Mike, I'll start with you. So Mike has started a company called Main Street Authors, where he gets, mainly brick and mortar companies, gets them to write books. So why, Mike, would a Main Street business owner, why would they want to consider being a publisher? Why is that important for the average dentist or veterinarian or financial planner or whomever that may be?
Yeah. So let me I'll take one step back, Travis, and then I'll answer your question specifically. So when I refer to a Main Street business owner, obviously, yes, I'm referring to the traditional local business owners that have a bricks and mortar location where people come to them, or maybe a landscaper or a service company where they go to somebody. So that's one audience we serve, and then the second audience we serve is people kind of like yourself and your dad, people that serve Main Street business owners. So you're not necessarily a Main Street business owner, but you serve Main Street business owners. So those are the 2 very specific types of entrepreneurs and business owners we serve with our programs. But specifically, listen, I've been doing this now 20 years since I left corporate America, and I'm a voracious reader. I just bought some new books today on Amazon. My wife loves that. I believe in books. I'm the kind of person that I always turn to a book when I'm looking to learn about something or I'm seeking something. So one of the big things is, even in this day and age, 2020, most people will put a higher level of respect or hold in higher esteem the individual who is a published author. So I think one of the biggest reasons for anybody to consider being an author, and then we're going to talk about being a specific type of author, but at a very high level, you want to do it for really to become that expert authority, that person who is looked upon at a higher level. So knowing that, again, people put a higher level of respect, that's one reason. The other big reason is chances are your competition is not doing it. Okay, so depending on what it is each of everyone here does, there's a high probability your competition is not a published author. And then the third reason, Travis, I think it's important, and Keith, you'll appreciate this, and I know you do this, is that when you are an author and you leverage a book in your business, it allows you and enables you to advertise and market and sell at a more sophisticated, higher level, where you literally are attracting customers instead of pursuing them, right? So, when you are an author and you leverage a book-centric marketing strategy correctly, it really puts you in a position to sell and market at a more sophisticated level. And Keith, again, I pulled out the Keith Lee books for this because I have them on my bookshelf. I mean, you've been doing this for years, right?
Yeah, actually, I started Shooks before us in our marketing groups that were around knew what Shooks were. Before it became a big deal, with us. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit, my first book. Because my first book, when you talked about positioning yourself differently, that was 100% what I had in mind with the very first book that I authored. So I don't know if we want to get into that right now, or actually let's do that, I guess.
Well, just one thing too, I'll jump in.
Go ahead.
I mean, I think Mike brings up a very good point in that the pursuit versus the push versus pull, the pursuit versus going out and hunting and attacking. And, I equate, most marketing is the cavemen going out with the club, trying to find something to knock over the head and drag back to the cave. It can be done. Most businesses do it. It's a lot of grunt work, and it's a lot of, you gotta walk around the forest a long time before you find something to club, right? The ability to have something that people pull from you, and it's direct response marketing plus, right? It is the whole idea of, instead of pursuit of them, let them pursue us. Right. And it completely changes the relationship from the very beginning. And you position yourself as the expert. There's not that feeling that I've been clubbed over the head, right? It is, you may have been clubbed over the head, but it feels good, right? So, so that whole idea, we talk and teach direct response marketing, and it almost always starts with lead gen. So that whole pursuit and flipping the pursuit, I think goes a long way. So Keith, I'll let you jump back in. You were going to talk about, I know you got the one there from our days with American Retail Supply. You've got 5, 6, 7 of these, what we would call Shooks now. What are some of the different ways that you've used them? I know you've got stuff that sells product, you got stuff that sells idea, you got stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you've used these things as a marketing device.
Yeah. So I'm not going to start with this one after all. I'm going to go back to this one because I think just about everybody on this call can use something very similar to this. So at American Retail Supply, we sold independent retailers and regional chain retailers everything they needed to run their stores. We sold them their fixtures, their display cases, their shelving, their bags, boxes, bows, ribbons, all of that stuff, everything they needed to run their stores. And eventually we got into the last 15 years or so that I was there, had that business, well, longer than that, I guess it was 20 years. Oh my goodness. We got into point of sale computer systems. So here's the book. So we had all these people buying stuff from us. And then we would talk to them in newsletters and emails and things like that. We would talk to them about our point of sale computer system. And we said, if you want to learn more about it, get our book, get my book, The 9 Questions You Must Ask Before You Invest in a New POS System for Your Retail Store. Now, again, the reason I wanted to start with this is that I think almost anybody on this call could write a book similar to this, putting them as the authority. The blank questions you must ask before you even think of putting braces on your child. Travis, you can fill this one in. You do a lot of attorneys maybe, but the X questions you must ask before you finalize your bankruptcy, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways, but yeah, I mean, it's formulaic, just like Dan Kennedy teaches, right? It's a formula for book titles, for headlines, and that kind of stuff. I mean, you're absolutely right.
So then this goes on. So now, when they ask for our information, or they get to us, or we send this out. Now, what does most people send out? Most people send out a flyer, a brochure, whatever the case may be. All of them want to end up getting a one-on-one consultation, whether over the phone or in person. But we're sending out this book to them, and it has the 128-point supplier comparison checklist. Wow, look at there. 128 things you should look at before you invest in a POS system. And we got us right here where they can check it off, and I'll be darned. We check off every one of those. Okay, and does the competition? The 9 questions you need to ask. We check off all the 9 questions also. We have 8 case studies in here. Okay. Now, here's one of the other things is sometimes when you're writing a shook, you don't need to create all the copy yourself. For instance, the 8 case studies, we sold Microsoft software. So we got some of the case studies from Microsoft. We didn't have to write them all. And then at the end, we've got about 50 testimonials, and I don't like the word testimonials, so we call them retailers speak, with 50 kind of, and we could do a whole hour on how to get a good testimonial too, but 50 testimonials about retailers speak. I want one reason I want to make sure and share this book. I don't use it any longer. I left it at the business when I left. One of the reasons I wanted to share this is that we had one customer, one client that ended up buying a point-of-sale computer system from us. He didn't get this book from us. The previous owner got the book from us. Previous owner of the company left it on his bookshelf because people don't throw books away. They throw proposals away. They throw pamphlets. They throw brochures away. They don't throw books away. So this guy comes in, sees the book on the shelf, reads it, and places a $30,000 point-of-sale computer system over with it. So that's how powerful the POS books can be. Do you, Mike or Travis, you want to add anything on that before I go to my next book?
No, jump in on there for sure.
I guess the only thing I would say, just because you guys, we're all sort of talking jargon here because we know,
yeah.
But just you're talking shooks. I just want to kind of just,
yeah.
Shook is, in my vernacular, shook means a short, helpful book. It's about a book that can be read in about an hour. It is a direct response book. So we are direct response marketers. We know that a book is really just an opportunity to start a conversation and bring a reader to a next step. A lot of authors make that. There's a big mistake. They don't know that it's just a conversation starter to get to the next step. And also, and Keith, to your point, you showed it, but so even some of your other, you didn't call them shooks, but they're shooks. I mean, these are real books. They have spines. I mean, these aren't like little pamphlets, brochures. These are real books, but they're designed to be read quickly and then bring the reader to the next step. So I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page when we're using that word.
Yeah, we're all used to it. We're all used to it for sure. Keith, why don't you give us 1 or 2 more examples?
Well, since you said read in an hour or so, so I'll have somebody want to do a one-on-one consulting call with me to see if it makes sense for them to work with me on doing their staff development and that type of thing. Now, and this is just one way that I use these 3 books is if somebody wants to do a one-on-one call with me, I frankly have that so they can't do it. If they schedule it online, they can't do it for 5 days. Okay, it's 5 days out. Why do I do that? I do that because I want to be able to get this book in their hands within 2 days via FedEx. It's only an hour to read, so I ask them to read it before we talk. So they're all set up. I don't have to go through talking, and John, I see you on here, you know what this is about, okay? I don't have to go through what's in the book. We can start with we can start from them have read the book, and we can go on from there. So that's really one of the really powerful things about having a book that can be read in an hour. Can you imagine if I sent them a 300-page book? They can't read that before we get together, okay? The other thing is if we have how many people get through a 300-page book at all? Now, I'm a reader too, Mike, and I know Travis is. I mean, we read. Most people don't. And if you send them a 300-page book, they're not even going to open it in many cases. This is something they can look at and they can see, in my case, hey, it's actually pretty big type on this one, a little smaller type on this one, but it's pretty big type. I can get through this thing pretty easily. So that's one of the cool things about using these shooks, these short, helpful books, and one of the places where I use that. So to give you an idea, let's go back to this one. And Travis and Mike, just chime in anytime here if you want.
You got to take a breath.
I know, but just say stop. I'm serious. If you say stop, because I'm excited about this. This is fun stuff for me. I love marketing, so this is good stuff for me. We're going to go back to this book. Here's what happened with this book. When I sold American Retail Supply in 2015, I was on my 23rd edition X volume of my newsletter. 23rd edition means that I'd been doing newsletters for 23 years on a monthly basis to my clients. These were free newsletters. What I did in the newsletters is I wanted to give them information. They were only 11 by 17 folded, so they were 4 pages. I wanted to give them good information that they could use in their business. Now, I told some of you that saw my newsletters, we're going to talk about general marketing, not just books here too. So I'm going to hit you on that. So I sent out a newsletter to them every month for 23 years. And the reason for the newsletter was to help them be better retailers. And I told them, the better retailer you are, the more of my stuff you're going to need to buy. So that's why I'm sending this to you. The other thing I sent it to them for is I wanted to make sure they thought of us. I never got forgotten. So they thought of us whenever they needed anything. And I was right up front with them too. And I said, and the third reason I'm sending this to you is I'm going to put some stuff in here so you can buy. So hopefully I can monetize this thing too. But so what I shared with them on being a better retailer for the most part was customer service, because I was fanatical about that myself. We literally, our URL for our website for many years was makeyouhappy.com. And that came directly from Disney training, okay? So we were fanatics about customer service. So I shared all these customer service stories with them and ideas. And a couple people came back to me and said, hey, Keith, do you have all that in one place where I could get it from you? And I said, no, but that sounds like a good idea. So I started putting it in one place, and before long, I've got a shook that I didn't know was a shook. Okay, and so now here's what happens. People at American, now again, think of how you can use this in your business. People calling us or contacting us on our website, for the most part, were contacting us to get our catalog, okay? Catalogs were still highly used in that time. So they were contacting us to get our catalog. What did other people send out to them, our competition? They sent out a catalog. What did we send out? Well, we sent out a catalog and 16 pages of retailer speak testimonials that I didn't call testimonials, some other stuff, but mainly this. And on the cover of it was a sticky pad that said, this is the type of service you should expect from us every single time you deal with us. If you don't get that, call 1-800-426-5708 so we can take care of you right away. If you're still not happy, call me on my direct line at 253-859-7310 so I can make you happy. Signed, Keith Lee, owner. And then at the bottom it said, by the way, there may be some things in here that you can use in your business. Mike, you talked about setting yourself up differently. So we didn't go to them and say, we're the lowest price all the time, da-da-da-da-da. We went to them right at the very beginning and said, we're the customer service source. Didn't say we were more expensive, didn't say we were less expensive, didn't say anything about that. We said that we're your source if you want to have the best customer service. Now, on the bottom of this, it says 5th edition. Every edition was 10,000 units. So we sent out 50,000 of these. Now, most of you aren't going to do anything like that. And today, what's great about it is today with the publishing or with the printing costs, and being able to print literally one book at a time. You don't need to be looking at big numbers whatsoever. But this was just killer for us. And one of the main reasons we were able to sell our business for millions more than competitors sold their business when that happened.
So Mike, you had mentioned that.
Can I jump in real quick for Travis? We're going to make it hard on you, Travis. Let me just make a point to what you just said, Keith, because you just mentioned the fact that you were able to sell your business for millions more because you probably had marketing systems and all this stuff that I know, the Lees are good at. But unlike a brochure, unlike a business card, unlike most marketing collateral, a book, a properly written, constructed, published, printed book is an asset.
Yeah.
And, you got to think of it as an asset. And it doesn't just, it's not one and done. It's out there working for any of us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So sorry, Travis, I just wanted to jump in because it really.
All right. That's what I wanted.
I'm still not going to let you go, Travis. I'm going to jump in again. The people that bought my business buy these from me still today and send them out exactly like we did when I was there. So you're talking about an asset. They saw that.
Yeah. And anyone who knows when Keith and I get together, I'm a 10,000 word underdog. So I am more than used to it. Mike, you brought up a point that I think got glossed over, and I think it's very, very important. You said the book is the starting point. What do you mean by that? What do you mean it's the starting point?
It's a starting point.
Yeah.
Listen, we're all marketers, so we know we have to have lots of things working for us. But, again, I've worked with people. I actually see a number of our Shook clients on the call, so it's even kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've worked with a lot of folks over the years, and people tend to think, okay, if I'm going to write a book, I got to write, like Keith said, a 200, 300-page book. And listen, I love those kind of books. They have their place, okay? The person who wants to be a New York Times bestseller and be a guru all over the world, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about being, I call it 5 Mile famous. It's about being famous within your community. So they make the mistake that the book has to be the A to Z story, the A to Z explanation, the A to Z encyclopedia, which is not what we're talking about here, Travis. We're talking about a short book, so it looks different. They're a little sized differently. But more importantly, they focus on a big promise, a very specific topic, a big promise. Here's what you can learn, here's what to avoid, etc. And it's really meant to start the conversation. And after about an hour of undivided attention, not too much marketing collateral can do that, where you have essentially someone's undivided attention for about an hour, where you're leading them down a path. Here's what to watch for. Here's what to look for. Here's what you shouldn't do. Here's what you should do. And oh, by the way, here's how I can help you. In our Shooks, we literally have a chapter called The Next Step, and it's that bridge between sort of the teaching and now here's the next step to take. And again, all we're doing is taking a reader, in this case, down a pathway. Started the conversation by promoting the book, having a really good title that addresses a problem or a want, and then getting them to raise their hand, and then bringing them down a pathway. So that's classic example of lead generation marketing, direct response marketing. It's bringing a person from A to B, in your sales process.
And I think a lot of people think that these things, that they need to be chock full of techniques and strategies, and it's got to be content, and it's just you got to over deliver in these little things, right? Well, the actuality of the deal is this is way more of a formalized sales letter than it is an actual book to inform. And while we do want to inform the reader, it's more to inform them of our expertise, of our level of to put us on the pedestal, right? So when you make that mind switch from I've got to write a book to tell and explain and get 42 checklists and 33 things to do, that's not what these are designed to do. These are designed to whet the appetite of the reader to then take the next logical step. And I think when you make that mind change and think, okay, book to inform versus book to sell, you know, there is some gray area between the two, right? The two got to cross over somewhat. It can't be sell, sell, sell on every page. But you don't need, like I said, 42 checklists and 33 strategies. This is only designed to get them to take whatever the next step is in your sales process.
Right, right. And Travis, just for everyone's sort of edification, for a shook, for the kind of shooks that we do for our clients, they average somewhere between 12 to 15,000 words. That's about a 1 hour, 75-minute read. I mean, the average, you know, published by a real publisher, you know, that you would see, they can be 50,000, 75,000 words, and they can take a year to write. Our world record right now for one of our shook clients, Travis, was an elder law attorney speaking at an elder law event. She was speaking on stage, couldn't sell from the stage, but wanted to be able to offer some sort of helpful information. 22 days from her idea on day one, she got the idea, we worked together. 22 days later, we had the printed books in her hand, printed books.
Yeah,
and
if I can,
that's the speed. I mean, that's the speed of what we're talking about here. And you can't do that when you do a traditional type of book.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons Travis and I talked about wanting to do this now. Because in my Making Lemonade, if you want to get in my Making Lemonade series, what I'm talking about is ideas mostly from my clients of how to cement your relationship with your current clients during this time, things you can do, getting things done that you wouldn't have had time to do before, and making a new income stream. Well, so I knew I wanted to do something like this with Mike for a long time, and I'm like, okay, now may be the perfect time to get started on this. If you're one of those business people that really are kind of stuck and don't really have much to do, I'm busier than heck because I'm sharing all these ideas with you guys. But if you're one of those business people that are really stuck and don't have much to do right now, this may be the perfect time. And that's why I wanted to make sure and have Mike on here right now. If I can go back to this, I'm going to go back to this whether you want it or not, Trump. This book was written for my retail store clients at American Retail Supply. When I started, this is written for retailers, out Nordstrom. Back to Dan Kennedy's mastermind group, Bill Goff said, "What the hell is that, out Nordstrom?" So he wasn't a retailer. So what did I do when I decided that I was going to become a coach and offer customer service products and my customer service system and my monthly customer service continuity program? What did I do? I took this and I edited it to become the Happy Customer Handbook, and it's for everybody. Didn't take much work at all, and now I have, this was never designed to be a product to move into other things other than authority and other than telling our customers that we're the customer service source. That's what this was all about. This is all about telling them that I'm a pretty good customer service guy you should listen to, and leading to a product to sell them, okay? And then from that, now we're into the pointless times when in our marketing areas, we are starting to talk about short books. So I put together How to Control Your Business and Your Life, Proven Secrets to Creating Highly Productive Teams. That's my next shook. Short, helpful book, 100 pages or so, teaching you, showing people how to create highly productive teams. Again, the idea, moving them into then a product that I sell, one-on-one coaching, etc. By the way, if you want to see some, I think, pretty good shooks, and I might as well do some marketing while I'm on here. So sell it. $2.97, that's for postage and handling. You can go to thehappycustomerhandbook.com. Not a terribly hard URL, thehappycustomerhandbook.com. howtocontrolyourbusiness.com. Okay, howtocontrolyourbusiness.com. You'll see some ideas, and in these, Mike says, you'll see the next step as the last chapter, okay? And then since this was my complete management system, this is the customer service system. I also have, as part of my complete management system, performance management. So then I wrote the book, Performance Reviews Suck. And you can get that by, guess what? Going to performancereviewsuck.com, okay? Again, if you haven't seen those. So that's how I use those three. Now we're going to go to one step further. As I'm into my management system and I'm getting clients for this, I'm looking at, wow, I have a huge number of dentists that are my clients for this thing. So what do? I take this book, and this one's actually a lot better because I became better over time. But I basically took this book and I edited it for dentists.
Yeah. So making a niche specific version of essentially the same content to really zero in and target on a specific audience.
Yep, hugely so the same content. For dental practices, I call them out. How to create a highly productive staff that increases patient retention and referrals. Okay, so all I can say is these things have been my lifeblood. I mean, this is how I get new clients today. It's how I become an authority with clients in the past and today. It's my opt-in for where most people find me one way or the other. So that's kind of my spiel on this. Now I'll sit back.
So Mike, I've got this book now, and it's a fancy business card unless you do something with it. Keith has kind of gone over how, as a consultant, he monetizes this thing with, frankly, not even selling it, right? He charges $2-3, so he's not selling it. How does the average Main Street author monetize something like this for the average Joe? So Keith gave us a ton of examples as a consultant. How does the average Joe use this to make money?
Yeah. So, the first step is realizing, you're right, Travis, the goal of these things is not to sell them per se, right? You can, offer them. It's not about making money by selling the book, which again is different than the way most people
the mainstream
approach. Right. Because again, we're not talking about that. And I call them business cards on steroids, essentially, right?
Yep.
So the first step is you got to realize this is not about making money. Yeah, you'll have it up on Amazon maybe. You might make a couple dollars, but that's not the point. It's about getting it out there in front of the right target audience as much as possible. So Main Street business owners have what I believe very unique opportunities. Again, there's a ton of people out there, there might be even people on this call that do it, that help people write and publish books. There's small boutique publishers like myself. There's big publishers. There's all kinds of things, right? There's all kinds of experts. There's all kinds of people telling you what you should be doing or not doing. But most of those people are gearing the message to someone who wants to be kind of famous all over the place versus, I would say, locally. And the strategies they suggest are good if you have got a big email list or you're really savvy at social media marketing and all that stuff. And again, all valuable strategies. But I believe the Main Street guy or gal has some unique opportunities that even surpass a lot of that online stuff and whiz-bang stuff. So for example, Travis, using and displaying your shooks not only in your own place of business, but this is a key strategy, and I've seen some of my clients hit home runs with it, but more importantly, creating a local network. So one of the best examples I've given, and you guys know this guy, remember Kevin Flood, the dentist in Michigan? He was an IBA.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know if you knew, he passed away last year.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it was unexpected. It was literally, I talked to him on one day, and 3 days later I found out he passed away. Great guy. He was an awesome guy. Kevin was a dentist, a local dentist, and his specialty was mercury-free dentistry. So if you have silver amalgams in your teeth, you have mercury in your mouth, and that's not a good thing. So his specialty was informing people of the dangers of mercury and then removing that mercury. And we worked together to create a shook. I'm looking at it over there. Where is it? Down there. Are your teeth toxic? That was the name of his shook.
What a great title.
And but here's what he did to answer your question, Travis, that was so cool. Now, he did a website. He did marketing on Facebook. He had an agency working with him in that capacity. The smartest thing he did, which immediately hit his bottom line, is he went out to about 20 local business owners that he knew that had customers that would align with his patient avatar. So think about it. If you want to get mercury out of your mouth, chances are you're maybe eating a little bit better, you're working out, yoga, that kind of stuff. So he went out to chiropractors, health food stores, yoga studios, and put his book, a little stand of them, and offered a free book to other people's customers. And within the first 30 days of doing that, he got 3 new patients at a couple $1,000s a pop that he would not have gotten otherwise because they picked up his shook at the yoga studio, at the chiropractor's office, whatever. So that's a very cool, very unique strategy that anybody who's a Main Street business owner can leverage, getting in front of other people's customers.
Yeah, I got Mike on that same thing. With this book here, the Happy Customer Handbook, I have people that use this almost exactly the way I use this at American Retail Supply. So they actually buy this book from me by the case, so they're advertising for me. They buy it by the case from me. They put a sticker on the front and says, man, I love this book. This is the kind of customer service you should get from us every time. If you don't get it, call us right away so that we can make it right. Just taking exactly what I did and again, just looking for another way to get your books out to other places. So these people with every new customer are advertising for me. I mean, that's one way that you could use it also.
Yeah, and Mike, you mentioned being 5 miles famous. Don't think of that in terms of physicality as well, right? I mean, you got a storefront. Most dentists, most people are going to be, working from a 5 mile radius. But for us, we're a national-based company, right? If I went 5 miles out that way, I'd be in Mount Rainier National Forest, right? I mean, there's nobody there to sell to. But it can be your virtual footprint as well. It's not about influencing. I mean, if you do influence hundreds of thousands or millions of people, great, all the better. But it's about having influence and having authority within a very specific group of people, whether that be a physical 5 mile radius or in my case, a virtual 5 mile radius, right? It's the idea of, Kennedy says it really well. You want to be famous to the people that want you to be famous, right? And not care about everybody else, right? So it's that whole idea of being famous for your little tiny circle of people and ignoring everybody else.
That's right. I mean, listen, again, we're all direct response guys. We know marketing is not just about attracting ideal customers, clients, patients, students. It's also about pushing away people we should not be doing business with. So, when we work with some of our shook authors, we put things in there to sort of repel people. Listen, if you don't fit these criteria, I mean, again, all our first, and I see like Adam here online. I mean, he's a multiple shook author. One of the first chapters in our shooks is, I don't know if you can see it, who should read this book? So we listen, even though it's only an hour, don't even waste your time if you don't hit these certain criteria. So again, Travis, to your point, and this is a good marketing lesson for everybody. Marketing is just not about attraction. It's also about cleaning out, I call it, going back to the beer stuff, you'll appreciate this probably, Travis, too. I call it distillation marketing. Mm-hmm. It's about starting off and refining and cleaning your lists and all that you do by trying to weed out the people that shouldn't be there and getting more of the people that should. And a distillation process is a purification process It's a unique way to think about your marketing.
Cool. So I'm going to skip down here a couple questions because some of these we've already covered. We're going to go about 10 more minutes, and we'll open it up for Q&A. So if you guys are waiting for Q&A, we'll go till about 10 to the hour, then we'll open it on up for you guys. Mike, what are some of the big mistakes people do when they write these books? I'm sure we've touched on some of these things. Don't write for everybody. Don't make it 250 pages. But what are the things, if I'm going to take the next 2 months and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write my book, what are the 3 or 4 or 5 big things that if I had up on a reader board in front of my monitor that I should absolutely avoid at all costs?
Yeah, great question. The first one is not knowing who you're writing to. So again, when I work with clients, one of the first things we do is really drill down, like, who are we writing to? And let's make sure everything is on point for that target reader. So not having, I call it not knowing who your who is.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. Another big one is, and we all tend to go this route, most of us at least, to want to overcomplicate, overteach. I just bought a book yesterday, Travis. One of my Shook clients recommended on the call yesterday. And I was like, I got to buy it. So bought the Kindle version. I'm reading it last night, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm reading it for an hour, and the guy's repeating himself, and I'm like, when am I going to get to what I'm looking for? So that, traditional published books have a certain page count they have to hit for price points and all that, but it's this thing that you've got to like dump on people and just put so much bloat into the book. And then the third thing is, and then Keith, I'll get your input. It's not having a deadline. If you don't, and Keith, to your point, now's a great time. I'm currently, my last sessions this evening, a 60-day Shook challenge, 60 days from start to end, right? If you don't have a deadline, if you don't make the commitment to yourself, I'm going to get this thing done by June 1st, guess what happens? Life happens, things get in the way. So not having a deadline, Travis, is a huge mistake.
Yeah, so to recap, who's your who? Don't overcomplicate, don't bloat it, and give yourself a deadline. I love it. Keith, your thoughts. What mistakes you made? Mistakes you said that the one book is now way better than the second. The second one is now way better than the first one, right?
Oh,
what
okay.
were the mistakes? What were the things you did? What made version 2 and 3 and 4 better than version before that?
Yeah, that's a good question. The main reason the main reason this dentist book is better than the one that it came from, Performance Reviews Suck. This is emotion. This is about emotion. This is about story. I became a better writer by going to our Kennedy stuff and reality too. When and I actually think I was doing private consulting with Dan when I wrote both of them. But I put in the transformation that can happen with your kid, with your divorce, being able to get out of it. But put together the transformation, if you can, within your books also. The other thing that I would do, especially if you are one of I know, we keep talking about kind of awesomes that have written a lot or done a lot or done newsletters or done whatever, go back and look at what you already have. And don't necessarily have to start from scratch. Again, one of the things about whatever book it is here, this one, is like, again, I think there's 8 case studies in there, but we were Microsoft, our software that we sold was Microsoft, so I could use their case studies along with 3 or 4 of my own to put in here. So that would be kind of my hints, and to just start writing, and it doesn't have to be done. Set aside an hour or 2. You'd be amazed at the amount of words you get done in an hour. I don't. If I went back and looked at these books and looked at how many hours I really spent on them, you know, they maybe took weeks to get done, but in number of hours, they weren't that many. It just really wasn't. If you just sit down and write. And you have to have an idea. And I think that's the other thing, Mike, what you said is really know your audience. As I wrote more of these, I got more into really knowing my audience, I think, too. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, stories sell. And I don't care if you're writing a one-page sales letter, a 100-page shook, or a 500-page, you know, textbook. People learn through stories better. They read stories better, right? So if you can turn it to a story, I mean, the E-Myth guy, right? Throughout the whole thing, it's a story of ongoing growth. He could have easily written that like a textbook, and he didn't, right? So last question for you, Mike. Robert Hertz, I do see your question here. You will be at the top of my list for Q&A here in just a second. So Mike, last thoughts. What do you tell a business owner who thinks they're not capable of writing a book? We talked about it a little bit, but what would you tell, if I'm sitting here, we're having a conversation, I can't type, I can't write, I can't do any of this. What are you going to tell me?
So my first answer is, if you are currently helping people with your products or services, you have it within you to author and publish a book, a shook. No doubt. If you're already helping people, you can do it. Now, you might need to work with someone, you might need a blueprint, you might need a pathway to follow, that's fine. But everybody, and I'm looking through all these, you know, folks that are with us, there's not a single person, I believe, that can't figure out a way to author a real book for their business. As a matter of fact, Travis, I see my brother from Jersey, Mario, who I've known for years. Now get this, Mario, he's on the first screen here. Mario has a decking, right? You know, decks outside your house, whatever. Decking manufacturing company in New Jersey. Mario is a shook author. Mario wrote a shook on how and why you want to pick correct decking products for your home or business. Now, if Mario on that very niche can write a shook, I think anybody can write a shook. So it's really just get out of your own way. Get out. There's so many books on Amazon. I'm going to make a great offer just to grab one of my books, my shooks, which gives a step-by-step blueprint. But you can do it. You can do it. And you should do it. And to Keith's point, make lemonade out of lemons. Who knows how much longer we're going to be in this, but why not at least start? And, hey, by July 4th, your shook is done.
Yeah. I'll have one more comment, and then I had so if you have any questions, Robert, I see you here. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. If we have time, I may open it up, unmute some of you if we get to that point. But if you want to type in a question here in the chat, make sure it's to everyone. We'll see it. My quick little story on people who don't think they can write a book. Very similar story. I was working with a client for several months, not writing his book, but he was a painter, local residential exterior, interior painter. And he had a book, you know, 75, 85 pages, right? And he was, you know, kind of obsessed about the quality and this and that and the other. And I said, Omar, you're the only painter in your area with a book. So the quality of the book and the content, and this goes for a lot of things, is only relative to what anybody else in your industry is doing at the time. And no painter is writing a book. No deck builder is writing a book. And so the content, and we all suffer from this. We think everyone knows this, everyone does this, yada, yada, yada. No, you just got to know this much more than the person who's reading the book. And in actuality, you know this much more, right? So, you know, it doesn't need to be Shakespeare, right? It doesn't. Your job is to help the person who's reading it, and the person who's reading it does not know as much as you about your topic, right? And then it's all relative. You know, if I want to have a bookshelf book and sell next to Dan Kennedy and all the other business gurus, well, yeah, it better be a pretty damn good book. But if I'm just using it to grow my own business, to use within my own circle of influence, it's all relative now to those types of things. So Mike, while I'm collecting a couple questions, you mentioned that you got your book. You want to give it out. We'd be horrible people if we didn't give them the chance to get your book. Why don't you give us the minute or 2 minute diatribe on that? Let us know what they can do, what they get. I'll collect a couple questions here, and we'll go from there.
Well, I mean, listen, when we were talking about doing this today, we at first thought about having a webinar and slides. I'm like, yeah, let's just have a conversation, a fireside chat with Travis.
There you go.
But, not looking to sell anything, but I'd be remiss if I didn't offer my most recent shook. And as Keith and I were talking about this, so my most recent one is Main Street Author, right? And if you go on to Amazon or Barnes & Noble, actually, I'm going to send you to a page. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble. There's a couple other sites that you can go to and grab the print copy. It's $10. If you have a Prime member, it's shipping. Actually, it's less than $10. Grab a print copy and then send us your receipt number. I'm going to give everybody on this presentation today, this conversation today, 3 hugely valuable gifts. And again, this is just for Keith and Travis's friends. So when you grab a print copy of Main Street Author by going to mainstreetauthor.com/Lee, L-E-E, I'm going to give you 3 bonus gifts. One is I'm going to give you the audio version. So some of you probably, Keith, one of the things that's really intriguing me these days is how many people want audiobooks. So I'm going to give you the audio version.
Just on that, I devour. I had to drive to Spokane yesterday, and I finished a book driving to and from Spokane. A wonderful book. So yeah, that's awesome.
Even though you have a copy, when you buy a copy, you'll get the audio version.
Good enough.
Anyway, so the audio version, and by the way, it's professionally narrated. You're not going to hear a Philly guy narrating for an hour. I thought about it, but so you get the audio version. You're going to get a almost 3-hour training. And I realized that, but I did a very complex, well, not complex, a very detailed training. I sell it on my website for $200. It's 6 parts, and it's literally, if you go through this training, you can do your own show. So I'm going to give you a free digital download of that.
Is that that step-by-step outline you mentioned? 10
well,
or 15
step-by-step is actually it's in the shook itself.
Oh, there you go. So that was one of Rob's questions. He wanted the step-by-step. Get the
book.
book.
We walked through it in the training, so I'm going to give you that. And the third thing I'm giving you, which is very cool, and Keith, you probably remember this, maybe Travis would too. I got this idea from Richard Simmons and Deal Meal, but we have something called our shook building blocks. And I literally used to print these out and create a deck of cards, and we would send them to folks. But now for this, we did it as a PDF. You can download it, print it off, cut them up. But literally, it allows you to build your shook by saying, well, I want this part, I don't want this part, So anyway, those 3 bonuses, the audiobook, the Main Street, it's called the Main Street Author Roadmap, which is the training, and the shook building blocks. All you have to do is send us your receipt from Barnes & Noble or Amazon.
If they go on that URL there, do they have to send you their receipt too? Because that's to you, isn't it? mainstreetauthor.com/Lee.
Right. They just type in their name, their email, because we have to send it to them, Keith. And then there's a place to type in it's the order number from.
Yeah. So what you'll do, go to that website. There'll be a couple different book buyers to buy it from. So go buy it from Amazon or B&N or whatever.
Oh, I see.
Then come back to that page, enter your information with your receipt number, and that'll let Mike know. And then I assume you've got some kind of whiz-bang thing behind it that'll then deliver all this stuff.
Yeah, it just we wanted to make it automated in that respect. Yeah.
So there is a question from Jiva about being on Amazon, not available on Amazon.ca, a physical book. I assume she could maybe get the Kindle version and redeem that for you?
Actually, it should be. We have Canadian folks. I'll have to check that, but it should be.
Hey, drop us an email if you need Keith at Keith Lee. We'll hook you up with Mike. We'll make sure you get it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have copies here. I'm happy to send you. I just felt like I wanted people to, just get it, because most people can get it from Prime like 2 days from now or whatever.
Exactly.
But it should be there. If not, yeah, we'll follow up.
So Jiva, let us know. We'll let Jiva let us know if you have any issue, any emails you've gotten from Keith or myself regarding this. Just reply back to one of them. We'll put you guys in touch. Mary Beth says, okay, Mike, I'm committed to getting the shook done by July 1st. I have the book and just reference, and it's great. So Mary Beth is going to get it done. Robert Hertz asked Keith, this was when you were talking about the difference between your dentist book and the other book. And he said, can you explain the transformation? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, the transformation in the way I use it is what happens to you, not just what happens to your business and the things that go on, but the higher thing. I don't know, all that stuff gets crazy for me. But the higher calling, if you will, for what happens to this. And so for instance, for me, in this book, what I did is, first off, I start with my story. And my story is, I started at American Retail Supply, and business grew great. Business was doing fine, and I was at my wit's end. I hated it because I had absolutely no time for myself. I was always taking care of problems at work because I didn't have systems in place. And I tell the story that, and this is about the transformation. It's actually better if your transformation is about your clients, not about you. But in this, the transformation is about me, but it's also some of them about my clients too in this, as the transformation. And that is, for instance, I tell the story of the transformation of me, and hopefully it's getting the idea to them that they can have that same kind of transformation happen to them. And going back to that again, I was burnt out. By 1992, I could have cared less if the business grew anymore. And then I went out and I discovered this management system. And I created it. I literally invented it, and that's the truth, because there wasn't out there. And I tell the story of that. I tell the story of, for instance, me in Little League, and I got the game winning. I wasn't that good of a batter. I was okay, but I was probably number 6 on the batting order. So if you know, I was okay, but not great. So I tell the story of being right down the street from our house. And I hit the winning run in, and I walk home, and I go through the back door, and I say, "Mom, I hit the winning run in." Da, 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 da. And my parents worked. I mean, they were workers. They didn't come to my stuff because they were busy working. She says, "Keith, that's great. Get ready for dinner." And then I tell the story about Bobby Woolman, and Bobby Woolman's dad was at every game. And when Bobby Woolman was done, he would walk off the field with his dad and go to the car with his arm around him. And I said, and it goes back to, what do you really want in life? And I said that I'm not willing to do that. I'm not going to miss my kids' things. And because of that, I was totally burnt out. And that's why I needed this system. So that's part of that. And then I get into, and this is from Bill, from Dan. He said, "No, tell your story, Keith. Tell your story throughout that entire book." So at the end of a chapter, at the end of this chapter, I talk about I love water. I've always loved water. And because of the transformation in my business, I was able to transfer my transformation in myself too. And we now have a house on a lake, and we have another house on a river because of the transformation. Going helicopter skiing with Jenny and Travis because of the transformation. That's transformation stuff. Not just what it does for you in your business. For Sean Tarpening in the book here, a dentist in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, his transformation is, now I'm not burdened with every problem, ultimately being forced to handle it, often in a manner the staff disagrees with. Now it's their problems. They take care of it. Morale is up. That's a transformation story. Transformation.
It's the before and after through story.
Yeah, but more than just the
before, and this can be anything. It can be, in your case, the management system. You know, the weight loss people always put the before and after picture up, right? But they don't tell you all the things that they're doing differently after, right?
Yeah.
Now I can go on a hike for 5 hours. I can go to the ball game and walk up the stairs.
That's the transformation. It's not losing the weight. It's what you get from losing the weight. Same kind of thing here. Try to get to that transformation point, if you can. Mike, do you have anything to say on that?
I mean, listen, Keith, it's heavy. It's like I would consider that critically important, and it's something that a lot of business owners don't necessarily do on a day-by-day basis. I mean, even expert marketers, I know I tend to forget that. But it's really, I think one of the best advice I can give for folks, and by the way, Travis, I already see people have already bought and they're already gotten their bonuses.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. If you do buy, let us know.
Yeah. And I don't know how long we can go, but I do have a couple other nuggets to share if we have
as long as you want to sit on top with us, we're here.
Yeah. So, taking that deep breath and really trying to figure things out. So one of the other big mistakes I think people make with any kind of marketing, but let's say specific to books, is they don't have a plan. So Keith is talking about something that is really part of a plan, and you're being strategic. You're thinking this through, which is what we do with our clients. Real quick story. Brand new client just started working with us. Keith, he found me through Dan Kennedy, but he's brand new to Dan Kennedy. So can you remember 25, 30 years ago when you were brand new to Dan Kennedy? You might even be on this call. Anyway, here, get this. He's an Air Force fighter pilot. All right? Served 70 missions during war. Young guy in his 30s. He's still in the Air Force, but he now is getting ready to set up his after Air Force life. And he read Main Street Author, contacted me. He's now a client. And his first call, I was like, okay, I'm not going to go into what he's teaching, but he's like, here's what I'm going to be teaching. And I took a step back, and I said, his name's Dom. I said, Dom, there's nothing about the way you served our country, about the training. I mean, to be a fighter pilot. And he didn't even think of it. He's like, Mike, I never thought of using my background as a fighter pilot to be the message, sort of the foundation of his show. Well, needless to say, we fixed that. But that's your point, Keith. We all have stories to share. We all have unique backgrounds. And if we can incorporate those, I think it's very important. Travis, another quick thing. I want to give Travis a shout out, because I did want to, one of the reasons I wanted to do this with you guys, I mean, again, direct mail, 3D mail. One of my clients is online. You see Adam there, who's using, he sells to high-end financial guys in New York City. He uses your bank mailer as part of his Shook sequence. So using physical books in, I call them wow packages, Dan calls them shock and awe, but using them in different ways through direct mail, killer way of marketing and really standing out. So
I'd like to give one more example of using your client as your hero. That's a good book, by the way. Your Story Brand. It talks about your client being your hero, and and it talks about the transformation also. And one of the things I use, and he's given me the right to do it as my friend. He's become my friend over the years. He was a client, and now he's a dear friend. Rolf Williams. His son is severely autistic. He will never be able to take care of himself. And so his goal when he got into my management system was that he needed to have his business set up so that he could work just part-time, half-time by the time his son got out of the school system. Because now the son is 21 years old, he's 6 foot whatever, he's severely autistic, he has to be someone with him 24 hours a day, basically, except for when he's sleeping. And so Rolf's goal was he needed to be able to work 4 hours a day, because otherwise his wife was going to be crazy if he wasn't able to do that. That's a transformation story.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I got one more question from Bruce, and then we'll probably end it there unless we get another great question or two. Bruce has kind of the compilation question. He says, I've got 3 reports. How do I repurpose? How do I take stuff I already have and this, and kind of put it together? Want to take a shot at that, Mike?
Yeah, and actually, Travis, give me 15 seconds. This is the cool thing about doing live TV.
Yeah, there you go. In case anybody questioned if this was live or pre-recorded, right?
Hold on, because I just pulled it off my bookshelf because I knew where it was here. To answer to Bruce's question, so a couple things, and Bruce, it's a great question. So it goes to, I forget if it was Travis or Keith said it, about repurposing content. Yes, to go from brochure or pamphlet or report to a book, it's going to require some more, more in-depth information. But one of the points I wanted to make, Bruce, to your point there, I have an elder law client. I think I mentioned her. She was the one that did the book for the 22-day book that she handed out at that event. But she is elder law. She has 3 shooks working for her right now, 2 on Alzheimer's disease, 1 on dementia. And I only reference this, Travis, because in most worlds, this would be 1 book, right? That's how most people would approach it. She was smart. For Alzheimer's, she has the person who's diagnosed, the person caring for the person who's diagnosed.
The adult child, yeah.
Right? And then dementia is its own form of Alzheimer's, right? So that's like a sub-niche, right? So my point with this, and you guys will love this, and you know this, what does this offer us as marketers? I mean, obviously it offers our readers, hey, that book is for me. My mom's got Alzheimer's. I have to read that one, right? Rather than the big, thick book. So it's good on the front end. Us as marketers, she has at minimum 3 different funnels on the back end where the person who's getting this book is getting a specific message on the follow-up versus the person who requested the dementia show. So, Bruce, to your point, keeping those separate as 3 books, I think, is a very smart strategy, especially in something like dentistry. So, yeah, smart stuff. And then Keith or Travis, you see Gary down there. You might want to just reiterate.
Yeah,
that.
I replied to him privately,
okay,
so we're good.
Cool.
Yeah. And I gave him my personal email address. I work with a chiropractor, very similar, and he's got, whether he calls them shooks or not, he works with Parkinson's, so he's got a book on Parkinson's. He works with thyroid. He's got a book on thyroid. And so now, again, it's the whole marketing idea of not writing 1 book to try to throw everybody into, but to have multiple smaller ones so that that person says, that is exactly what I need, that is what I want. And I couldn't agree more, Bruce, with Mike there. You probably have a book in all 3 of those topics. And to just expand out a little bit. And now to try to shoehorn those all into 1 book, now I've got to go through, if it becomes a 200-page book, I got to go through 160 pages to get to the 40 that I really want, right? So now if you've got those three different constituents, and you got those up on your website, you're running Facebook ads to them or whatever, you can now micro-target, which brings your marketing costs down. I mean, there's a ripple effect to niching anything.
So I've got something, Mike. It looks to me like there's some people that are like ready to chomp at the bit on this thing and don't want to wait to get their book even. What if somebody wants to contact you directly, and are you interested in that?
Yeah, Keith, thank you for that question. Of course, we're interested. If this sounds like it resonates with you, obviously, we've got the background, we've got the experience. We're not going to pretend to make you a New York Times bestseller, but we'll help you create a book that helps sell you and what you do. So if you go to mainstreetauthor.com, there is something, we call it our Shook strategy session. It's a 15-minute call with me. It really just helps us figure out, is this a good fit?
Does it make sense?
I'm like the Lees. I don't think the Lees are hardcore closers. I really believe if it's meant to be, and this makes sense, and that's, again, the beauty of being a Shook author. People can identify like, hey, yeah, I get Mike. I read his book. Let's go to the next step. So, yeah, Keith, without a doubt, just go to Main Street Author and book a strategy session.
Okay, so that's up there, easy for them to see, mainstreetauthor.com. Good.
mainstreetauthor.com to work, if you want to go kind of skip the line and go with Mike directly. If you just want to get his book and check him out, go to I wrote it down here, mainstreetauthor.com/Lee. Final thoughts, gentlemen, and then we'll log off here.
I'll do a final thought first, and we'll let Mike log off. Again, I told you before, the books are the heart of my marketing strategy. It's my #1 marketing strategy to use. If you're a Dennis, Kion, if you're still on there, I saw you were there and earlier, but you could easily do the 5 questions you must ask before you select a music studio for your child. And now all of a sudden, no one else is doing something like that. And it wouldn't be hard to. I just do it. Goodbye, Mike.
Well, before Mike, you answer. Only because he's a very, very good friend. Bruce had snuck in a question, and I know that you subscribe to this as well. What are your thoughts on having a book and then bringing in featured author or authors to do a chapter or chapters? I know you've got a ton of experience with the anthology type book. Why don't you give your quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, so actually my first book was an anthology or a compilation book, and it was in 2007, where essentially I gathered a bunch of people. They paid to be part of it, and we did it that way. Travis, as you well know, because your wife's in it, my teenage daughter, who was a senior in high school last year, did a compilation book for dog rescues, and right? Was it? Yeah, Travis, you're in it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, you hit 50 something.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's all right.
And she raised like $6,000 and completely different. So, listen, a compilation book is not a bad idea. However, I'm not, for the kind of things we're talking about, it's an option, Bruce. I'm not sure it's the best first option. I do like sort of the focus of them focusing on you versus maybe 15 other people. So now having a complimentary book that's a bunch of short stories from your clients or your patients, I think that's smart to complement. But I don't know if I would do it just as like a featured first effort. It is easier, of course, which is why my high school daughter did it. But I don't necessarily believe it gives you what you're what you're initially looking for if it's the first one you're doing.
Yeah, I love your idea of that being kind of a supplement, maybe to come later, not even come at the same time, but to come later. That would be my input on it.
Yeah, and Bruce has written a couple books, so this would not be his first foray into it. Like I said, Bruce is a very, very good friend.
Oh, I recognize Bruce now. I see it.
So you got his advice on that, Bruce. Hopefully it's good enough. Mike,
listen, well then real quick then, now knowing who it is, I didn't see it. Sorry. But listen, frankly, they can be money makers. All right. I know a lot of people have made a lot of money. I've done several of them, and they can be money makers. So they can be an income stream. You have to have a following. You have to be able to get people, to identify and say that's something, I want to be a part of. The other thing we had talked about, Travis, and maybe someday if there's interest, we could do this, but is book licensing. Yeah. Right, that's a whole other subject.
That's another whole hour.
Yeah, now
we'll do that. Mike, we need to do that sometime, though. We really do. I see on here from Dan asking if there's going to be a replay, and we'll get a replay to you.
Yep. Any other final thoughts, Mike?
No. Hey guys, thank you. I appreciate the leads, and hopefully there was some. Like I said, we figured. Why not get together and talk some marketing? So
we might have to do this on all kinds of topics. Actually, those of you, I think some of you are on here that probably weren't on to start. Travis and I are going to do a fireside chat next week also, and it's going to be something to the effect of the 10 marketing strategies you must use when shit hits the fan. So for now. Pay attention to that one. It's going to be good. So it's part of our whole idea of bringing you ideas that you can use right now to get through this thing. So
cool. Thanks, guys. MainStreetAuthor.com/league. Get your free book. Reach out to Mike directly, MainStreetAuthor.com. Other than that, gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate it. We will see you all hopefully about this same time next week.
Take care. Bye now.